when I tell my testimony to people, I'll say the worst and the best part was that I knew who Jesus was.
This world is very temporary.
Not religious. I'm a follower of Jesus.
Thank you for the invite.
That's a good question. I wish I read that one earlier.
If there was no mic going, I still would have loved this. Absolutely.
Talking about artists and other people, was there any artist growing up that shaped your style or your message that you spread out to the people these days?
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, I've been doing this for like 10 years, and I almost feel like I'm just now like finding my actual sound of like what I want to sound like. I'm very diverse as an artist, and I like being diverse as an artist, making different types of sounds, styles of music. But it all still sounds cohesive, you know what I mean? Like it's all like, okay, this song sounds like this, but it still sounds like Tre'Gadd. And that's always been my goal. And I like obviously I was inspired. Like the first Christian rapper I ever heard about was Lecrae, and that's where I was like, oh, Christian rap is a thing. You can do rap and be a Christian. So obviously that kind of like motivated me and inspired me to do Christian rap. And I like, you know, we jammed. Who didn't? You know what I mean? At that age, we jammed Lecrae out, 116, Trip Lee, Andy Mineo, like all them songs. But you know, just throughout the years, you hear different types of songs, you hear different styles. Hip hop changes, the sound changes, and I think Lecrae put it in a way one time that I really like, where he says, like, you gotta adapt. Like the sound changes, and it's not like you have to change your sound, but you kind of have to adapt in a way to like what the people are listening to that day. Because there's certain styles of music where I could drop it and nobody's listening to it, but I could probably kill it.
Yeah,
It's true.
But man, a handful of artists. I feel like, I never really listened to XXX Tentacion. I never really listened to him as an artist like that, but I did like, you know, go through his stuff and him as an artist. Obviously, he was a secular artist and whatnot, but his sound was very, very, very diverse, and I really like that. I really like that he could make a rock song and then the next song drop some crazy like 808 and just have that freedom, but like everybody rock with everything he did. So just a handful of artists, man. Everybody inspires me, man. Like in the Christian hip hop, like I couldn't say that there's not been a time where I wasn't inspired by Caleb Gordon, or I wasn't inspired by Indie Tribe, or I wasn't inspired by KB, or you know, just certain artists, Tory Deshawn. I've been inspired by like a whole bunch of people where I'm like, I like that sound, I like what he's doing, and it kind of gave me motivation to create something new, create something fresh. So
yeah. I just want to thank you, man. You're naming all those people off, man. It makes me so happy that we have all these people and you just spreading out the gospel in a way that us younger generation can understand it in a way, and just still be able to bop out in the gym, go out with friends, blast some rap. Man, I appreciate you and everyone else that's done it, because it's helped me and Isaac out a lot. So
Absolutely. And it's like, it's made the transition from not wanting to listen to secular music easy because of the new music that's been produced. You know, like I've always grown up listening to Christian music, but then there was a moment in my life where I kind of fell off and I started listening to secular music, and I was really into that for a minute. And then I realized, like, I shouldn't be doing this. This is of the world, and if I want to be following God, like, I have to be careful with what I'm listening to.
Yep.
And when I first started re-listening back to Christian artists, it was an easy switch back, because it didn't really feel like it was that out of place. You know, in my mind, I thought, oh man, like I'm going to have to listen to some corny rap again. But then, you know, new artists started coming out. You started coming out, Caleb Gordon, 305, like all these different artists started producing, and it made that switch so much easier. And I know that especially for this generation that's upcoming, like there's no excuse to not listen to Christian music nowadays. Like you can find the genre that you like anywhere.
right. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, there is no excuse.
Absolutely. So, what does your creative process look like? We talked about it a little bit, but writing, producing, and seeking God while creating. What does the process of making a song and putting it together for you, step by step, kind of look like?
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't know if my way is different, but like the way I told you earlier, like I said, that was the first time I really did it that way. But usually, I'm sitting down. And I usually got the Bible right there. If I'm having writer's block, I just open it up and I just try to find something to give me a little motivation. So one that I got really heavy was Bruce, and I was reading the book of Proverbs super hard at that time, so I was able to just like go crazy based off like the book of Proverbs. But usually I'm recording, like I'm sitting down, I'm recording, and I'm writing as I'm recording, and I'm like figuring out all my cadences and stuff as I'm recording. I've just always recorded that way. I've never been in I've never paid for studio time. I've always done stuff in my own, like my own setup, my own equipment. So my flow, like I know people that pay for studio time, they kind of like try to get everything written, ready to go. So where when they get in the studio, they recording and they get in and out of there, so they're not getting charged for all that studio time. But I just take my time with it, man. I write them. I use my phone. I have a whole little section where I just have all my lyrics and my songs, and I'll pull up the beat. Like if I hear a beat I like, that's usually where it starts, is the beat, and I'm like, that beat's fire. And then I'll pull the beat up, put it in the track, and I just start like either mumbling, or I might have like one line that I kind of have in my head, and I'll just try to like find a way to throw it on the beat. But most of the time it's me just throwing a beat on, and I'm just making noises, mumbling, and making it sound like I'm rapping or talking, and then I'll be like, all right, that was a cool melody or a cool hook, and then I'll plug words into the mumbles.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. It shows how authentic it is. Like it's real. Like you're just in there in the room reading the Bible, figuring out the words, what the Holy Spirit's going to give to you. I mean, that's amazing. I like that way. I'd never heard it done that way. I mean, I'd never even talked to anyone like this, but that is an awesome way to look at it. I didn't even know.
Yeah, that's great. So, as an artist, a husband, a father, and a man of God, how do you stay spiritually grounded and balanced within all these different things that you're trying to accomplish in your day-to-day life?
Yeah, man. I mean, to be honest, like sometimes I don't feel like I'm balanced. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like it's a lot going on, or like I'm a type of person where I'm always trying to do something, and I like to get like if I'm wanting to go down a certain path, I'm going like hyper focused, trying to go down that path, trying to figure it out. So I'm still working. I still work a regular job. I'm a truck driver. I drive semi trucks. So I do that. I'm making music, and then like you said, I got the family at the house, broken trucks in the driveway. There's sometimes where, dude, I'm like, I don't know, man, this is a lot. And my mind's always spinning. I'm always trying to figure out new businesses to start, new ideas. You know what I mean? My mind's always spinning. But spiritually grounded, what keeps me spiritually grounded is like one, your personal life, your personal relationship, your personal time you spend praying and reading the word. And then two is like my community, my church community, like all the people that we spend time with. We're very, very involved in our church over here where we live at. And we got a super awesome church. It's called True North Church. It's in Virginia Beach, if anybody's listening and wants to come by. But yeah, man, we found a church when me and my wife got married. She went to the church before we met each other. And she took me over there. That's a whole testimony itself too, me and her meeting. But long story short, yeah, we went to that church, became our home, dude, and we got super involved. We served there and just about every way you can at the church. And yeah, man, that I feel like that's what keeps us super grounded.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you kind of already touched up on it a little bit, but we would love to hear your testimony, how you met your wife, how you guys got connected with each other and just that whole process.
Yeah, so like I said, when I told you guys earlier, I used to live in Pennsylvania. So when I was up, all right, I graduated high school. After I graduated high school, I went to a Bible college in Jamaica for 1 semester. That joint was, I was 18 years old. It was culture shock. I'm on a whole different country on an island away from my family for the first time. Homesickness, like everything, all of the above, just like smacking me at the same time. It was a Baptist, super conservative Baptist Bible college. I had to shave my hair off, suit and tie. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. Christmas break came around. I went home, and I ain't come back. I didn't go back. But my mom found this this other ministry school up in Pennsylvania. It was called Global School of Supernatural Ministry. So I ended up enrolling and going there. And then I went there for a year, and that's what brought me up to Pennsylvania originally. It was a super charismatic environment. That was like where I first seen like people speaking in tongues, and I seen people, like people getting healed. I also seen some weird stuff that I don't want to get super weird, but I seen some stuff that I don't know if I agree with, but it was super cool experience. It was a very spiritual atmosphere, to keep it simple. And being in that super spiritual atmosphere every single day, it almost took me out of reality of real life, like the regular world. So after that school was over, it was like I got put into like society again, and I didn't really have the community that I had at the school. So I didn't even really know how to operate. And that was like, this is my first time I'm living on my own without my parents, without school. Like, I'm just working a job. It's just a weird place. And throughout that time in Pennsylvania, I kind of backslid, and I started drinking, and I started hanging out. Like, I was looking for community. Because I was very lonely up there. I didn't have nobody. And I was looking for a community, and I was a skateboarder, and that's really the only community that I had, was all the people at the skate park. So instead of me being a light in a dark place, I kind of let the dark, dictate what I did. And I kind of became more like them rather than them becoming more like me as a believer. So yeah, we started going out to drink, and I was on the dating apps, and I was just wilding out as a man. I was not being pure, and I kind of became numb. You know what I mean? I kind of became numb, and I just kind of like let myself go. And I've always had a relationship with the Lord, so that, like I said, that foundation was always there. So even when I fall down, it's like what I land on was him, and it was conviction. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how numb I was, that conviction was still there. Like, oh, I still believe in God. So like, this don't feel too good to my spirit. It's not like I'm like, I try to almost convince myself that I didn't believe in God to justify what I was doing. But really, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. So the conviction is what, was what kind of saved me. And when I tell my testimony to people, I'll say the worst and the best part was that I knew who Jesus was in that season. It was the best part because it's what saved me. It was the worst part because it's what made it hurt the most. Because if I was a person that didn't believe or know Jesus, then it wouldn't really hurt. It doesn't feel like you're doing somebody dirty. You know what I mean? That's just all you know. But I knew better. So, the Lord, was having me cut all these different things out of my life, and Pennsylvania was one of them. Was like, I set myself up there to not have a good reputation. I set myself up there to fall into sin very easily. So the Lord was like, basically like, flee from this place. And I had my sister and my little brother. They both lived down here where we live at now in Virginia Beach. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go move down there with my brother. I got family down there. It's a new place, but also familiar faces. And at the same time, when I moved down there, I also was like, I got my CDL. That's where I got my truck. Like I got my CDL and I started driving. So then I was all over the map, man. And that was like a good time for me, because I was very, very isolated, when I was over the road by myself in that truck. But I was like intentional about being isolated in a good way, like being isolated in a way of like, oh, I'm on that Mount Sinai, or I'm out there in the desert, with it's just me and God. So instead of being like isolated, it's kind of like what John Key said, like, don't be lonely by yourself. Like I was all alone in the truck, but I was all alone in the truck with God. It was just me and it was just God. So I was very intentional. Like I remember just driving down the road for hours and hours and hours, listening to just like soaking worship music and praying and just being like, God, I don't like the person that I became. Like, make me new. I want that fire and that zeal back for you. And when I was down at Virginia Beach, that kind of like, my flesh kind of creeped back up, and it's like I'm back on Tinder. I'm still, I start swiping like, oh, new area, you know what I mean? And that's actually where I've matched with my wife, who is my wife now. I matched with my wife on Tinder. That's where we met at. And when we first met, it wasn't a very godly encounter for the first time we met. It was kind of like me backsliding, and I was coming out of a dark place trying to heal, and she was also kind of in a similar place. Like she was in a dark place, kind of trying to find her way also. And we kind of both met each other in a dark place, trying to do better. And a little time went on, and I ended up kind of like, I texted her and like kind of, broke things off, where I was just like, hey, this is like what I left. I left because I'm trying to, work on my relationship with God. I'm trying to be a better man of God and not fall, into these ways no more. Basically something like that. I can't remember how I said, but I was like, I hope you understand. And then we didn't talk for a little time, like a month or two. I can't remember the exact time. And then she reached back out to me. And when she reached back out to me, I was like, I had been like praying hard after that. Like I'm locked in with God, like praying hard. And she hit me up. And at first it was like, bruh, like I was locked in, like I was doing so good. But then I was like, you know what, God, I'm gonna give this to you. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna give this, because when I met her, like she wasn't walking with the Lord, and she knew of him, but she didn't really know him. But I still liked her in a way where it was different than like, other people that I've met or whatever. It was like, oh, that girl is different, but I gotta lock in with the God, so I gotta keep it, keep it pushing. So she hit me back up. And he's like, you know what, God, I'm gonna give this to you. And this is the coolest part of the testimony was that girl got interrogated by me. Like I was like, yo, this is what I want in life. This is like the type of woman that I'm looking for. And then just like this list went on, and it was like straight up, like straight up to the where like some certain people hear and I get canceled. But it was in a good way, you know what I mean? It was in a good way. And so I prayed, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the story in the Bible where I'm blanking out on his name, but it's a story where he's laying fleeces out before the Lord, where he sets out a cloth and he's like, God, if this is what you want, when I wake up in the morning, there will be dew on the cloth, but not on the grass. The grass will be dry. And then the next morning, the grass will be dry. The cloth will have the dew. So that's what we use that, nowadays. It's like we lay fleeces upon the Lord. So I'm like, I'm going to lay fleeces upon the Lord to come, make sure that this is the direction that God is leading me, or this is a direction that God is willing to bless, you know what I mean? If this is what I choose. And so yeah, man, I went through this list, and it was like she was very much still in the world at the time, and I was like, God, I don't want to have nothing to do with her transformation. I want it to be all you. You know what I mean? Supernatural. She has an encounter with you, and you transform her from the inside out and show her who she is in Christ. But it's all you. Like I'm not going to be telling her not to listen to this type of music. I'm not going to be telling her to delete these pictures off Instagram. I'm not going to be telling her she need to get baptized. I'm not going to be telling her, like that she need to not cuss or yada yada yada, whatever. I'm not saying none of that. I'm just going to give it to you. I'm going to pray, and obviously I'm going to still be authentic and be an example of you, but it's not like I'm going to be coaching and directing her on how to come into a relationship with you. And in that time we prayed, like me and her, we prayed together. We read the Bible together. But it was like I made this prayer, and it was like this whole list of things. I always tell this, and it's like, damn, I'm not trying to make her sound like she was bad. Like this is just from my perspective. But she just didn't know the Lord yet. You know what I mean? She just didn't know the Lord yet. And I pray, bro. I pray like for like the music she's listening to, the like all the things I basically just listed. And it was like for a week straight, every day she would text me, hey, I just deleted all these photos off Instagram because I feel like it wasn't a good example of like who I am. I don't know, it just made me feel like gross. Deleted. I didn't say nothing about it. Then she texted me, I don't want to like curse no more because it makes my like I feel like filthy doing it, like it just don't feel right. Then she's like, I don't like listening to music I'm listening to, like it makes me cringe. Can you like make me a playlist of, Christian songs and Christian rap that I can listen to? So I made her this playlist. And it was like all these things, like literally back to back to back to back to back. And the last thing was that she wanted to get baptized. Like she wanted to get baptized, and this is all on her own, like just spending time with the Lord, praying, and the Lord did it. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, like literally every single thing that I just prayed about for confirmation is just like confirmed. Like all that stuff got confirmed. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna marry her. That's good. She good.
It's that simple.
And yeah, bro, it was. And then, yeah, she got baptized, and shortly after that, we got married. And we came together in a place where we were both in very dark places, and we both kind of like rekindled our relationships with the Lord, or met the Lord in a real way. And from that day until now, like we have not done nothing but grown together spiritually. You know what I mean? Like we've never, like our relationship with God has only gotten better and better, and our relationship with each other has only gotten better and better since that. So when I tell this testimony, I always tell people, I'm like, this is a story of God turning something ugly into beautiful. This is God turning something that maybe we thought was bad into good. But I'm like, don't go intended to find your wife though. Like that's not what this testimony is for at all. That is not what this testimony is for at all. This is not what that is for. This is a 1 in a million chance type deal. That's what I tell people.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, and we going strong, man. Like I said, we both serve at a church. We do young adults at a church. Not like the youth group, but like 18 to 32. We do young adults at a church. Worship team. Like we just in there, you know what I mean? And she's growing, and like she leads women now, in the church, and is leading them. So it's just super cool. Like I watched her transform from where she was to like who she is. Yeah, man, it's just beautiful. We got 2 beautiful babies. Cool stuff, man. So yeah, that's how we met. Crazy story.
That's a beautiful testimony. Thank you for sharing that, man. I mean,
Yeah, man.
I think anybody that hears that will be drawn in, because that is pretty cool. I
Yeah,
think me
man.
and Isaac, we had falling outs as well. We were living in the world. We were not caring, and when we try to find that right woman, we just kept asking God, and whatever God provided, we just listened to, and we just were very patient.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we're still going through our phases. Isaac's engaged. I have a girlfriend, and things are going well. So it's great to hear. It's good to listen to, knowing that there is hope, that people can change, you know, and
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
I appreciate that.
It changes my perspective for sure. Cause I used to kind of be like, you know, nah, like she ain't it. Yeah, I mean, but now it's like obviously there's red flags. There's red flags, but I'm like kind of more into a place where like, all right, if you give this to the Lord and she has an encounter with the Lord, or vice versa, the girl and the guy, and y'all both have an encounter with the Lord, y'all give it to God and you let Him lead. There's no way that it can fail. You know what I mean? But a lot of people like, I mean, I believe that God gives us a choice to choose our woman. It says, "He who finds a good wife finds a good thing." So I believe that God gives us free will in that regard to make a wise decision in choosing who our spouse will be. But I feel like you can still make the wrong choice. So it's like you got to have wisdom. It kind of goes back to that fear of the Lord thing. Like, do you fear the Lord? Are you seeking wisdom? Are you actually seeking God? Because I feel like when it comes to relationships, people are like, oh yeah, I'm praying about it, but really their emotions is really still dictating everything that they're doing. They're not really actually praying. They're like, oh, that girl's hot or that dude's hot, and I like him, and he said he go to church, so he husband material. But it's like, is he really though? You know what I mean? Is he really though? Is she really though? But yeah, man, it's my testimony definitely helped me minister to people going through relationship stuff in a different way. So that's cool.
I'm glad you got to share that. I'm happy that you shared that. So thank you for that. My next question for you was, I know you've been releasing singles. Is there an album coming soon?
Yeah, I'm planning on trying to do something this year, something with project wise. Hopefully like 2 projects.
Okay.
But we'll see, man. It's just yeah, it's just go with the flow.
Yep.
But definitely gonna be a project this year for sure.
And then, if so, would you consider going on tour again?
Um when I went on tour, are you talking about I Went Out tour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we went on tour that time, man, it was a whole different season of life. Like we set that tour up, me and Bryce, we set that tour up, and we basically paid to do that tour. Like we didn't make no money. We didn't make no money on the tour, but it was the coolest experience. Like it was one of the best experiences of my life. Setting up that tour, setting up shows in different states, hours and hours away from where I live, and having people pull up to that show. Like that was a super cool thing. But there's a lot more to tour than just pulling up places. You know what I mean? Especially in this season of life. Like I got family, I got mouths to feed. I can't be doing that type of stuff no more. Just driving around, spending all my money and going negative just to perform. So I would love to go on tour, but it has to make sense. It has to be legit. You know what I mean? It has to make sense. And right now I don't see a tour unless I'm going on tour with somebody that already has that established. Me setting up a headlining tour myself is not really right now.
Yep. I mean, if you go with somebody else, man, we'll be there.
For sure.
If someone call my name that got a legit tour set up, I'm probably not batting an eye. I'm probably going. But
Yep.
yeah, in regards to me setting up my own tour, yeah, that's not right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, sure.
No, absolutely. So with that, where do you feel like God is leading you over the next 5 years of your life?
That's a super good question. I feel like 5 years, it'd be unwise for me to expect something because there has not been a single year that went the way I thought it was going to go. You know what I mean? Not in a bad way, but just the way that God moves. I feel like in my life, it's not in a 5 years from now, this is where you're going to be at. This is what I want you to do. He plants certain things in my heart and certain desires and certain aspirations. But in the next 5 years, I mean, I'm literally just riding the wave, going with the flow. Like I said earlier, seeking first the kingdom and letting everything else be added. Just going with the flow, man. Like God opened up this door for Apollo. They kind of set up a certain amount of things to accomplish for the deal. So that's kind of the season I'm in right now. It's like, all right, I'm gonna fulfill all of these things, and I'm gonna see where I'm at the end of it, and kind of where God's leading me at that time, and the music aspect of things. in the next 5 years, I'd like to not be working a 9 to 5. And that's what me and my wife are working on in a lot of different avenues.
Amen to that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a truck driver too. I got my CDL a couple months ago. It's rough. I mean, I only jockey for a company, but it's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Too
I
much. Yeah, I've been
understand where you're
driving
coming
like
from.
almost 5 years.
Yeah.
I do roof trusses, like oversized loads.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been doing it. You've only been doing it for a little bit. When
Yeah.
you do it for a while, it's like second nature.
Yeah.
You don't
I'm
even really.
hoping so, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
this is my profession right now. You know, I got my CDL. It makes good money, you know, for set up for my future, and
Yeah.
that's what I want. I don't know if it's the thing that I'm gonna be doing for the rest of my life. Right now, it's kind of hard, but I'm trying to get used to it, you know. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's awesome to hear that you're doing it and that you'll be able to push through. And yeah.
You said you've been doing it for 2 months?
So I've been driving consecutive for 2 months. I got my CDL, I want to say almost a year ago.
Okay.
The company I was with just didn't put me on a tractor for a long time.
Okay.
But we do concrete panels and stuff, so they're pretty oversized loads too. So I'm a little intimidated half the time.
Yeah, that's crazy to start off that way, for sure.
Yeah.
100%. So, last question, dude. We appreciate your time that you've been giving us. So, what's one thing that God is teaching you right now that you feel like you still haven't mastered yet?
Something that God is teaching me right now that I still have not mastered.
Take your time on that one, man. I wouldn't know how to answer that either.
That's a good question. Nah, it's a super good question. I mean, I feel like we all growing in almost every single aspect of our life. Like, I could do better. I could be patient more often. I could be slower to being anxious, and worrying a lot of the time. There's times when I'm really good at it. There's times when I'm really bad at it. But I think a really easy way to answer this question, a broad answer, is He's still teaching me all the fruits of the Spirit and how to operate in them. And we're all human. We all still fall short. But He's teaching me how to walk in that, walk in those fruits every single day. And kind of have a higher percentage of, walking in them than not. So I would say he's teaching me the fruits of the Spirit, but I don't think I ever will master it, because that's why Jesus died, you know what I mean? Because we won't ever master being perfect, but getting better every day. It's like going to the gym.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Brother, thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. I mean, this is huge for us. You're personally probably like my favorite artist right now. I can't lie. I've been geeking for a while. And when I hit you up and you responded, I'm like, no way. That's crazy. So just super, 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 super excited. Before we wrap up, where can people like find your music, follow your journey, and support what you're doing?
Yeah, man. I'm on Tre'Gadd Music on Instagram. That's TREGADD Music. And then you could just type that in anywhere, Tre'Gadd Music, and find me. And then it's just Tre'Gadd. If you're going on Spotify, Apple Music, any of them streaming platforms, you can find me at Tre'Gadd.
Again, thank you. I can't say thank you enough.
You.
But dude, you're awesome, dude. It was awesome talking to you.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
We'll try to get another one in, and I'll try to get the camera set up when some more stuff happen in my life.
Absolutely.
That'd be
maybe
awesome,
later
bro.
this year. Maybe later this year we can get another one in, and shoot, maybe we could lock in person too. That'd be cool.
We appreciate that.
We're grateful, man. It's a blessing
Yeah, man.
talking to you, man.
Yeah, man. All right, guys. Well, have a good night. Thanks for having me.
You too, brother. Have a good one.